Well, you can wonder why the media does what it does or covers what it covers. And first of all, we need to dispense with the notion that they're just news organizations and they're just doing a public service. The New York Times is, the gray lady that everything that's fit to print, whatever. Everything that fits, they'll print, which is their narrative. And so you see this. What I just talked off air and was called the 40-year-old story. This is not, what Iran is going to expect from a new U.S. regime. Is it going to expect something different than it has since the deposition of the Shah? Since the crushing of Mossadegh. I mean, this is not these things don't change, but the press seems to be on a steroid-laced campaign to kind of push the idea that this is going to be good. This is going to be good. We get the incoming. They're professionals. They know what they're doing. They're not crazy like Trump. And how is Trump crazy? Well, we just heard from sources that he was going to bomb Iran. Oh, okay. That's crazier than bombing the crap out of Libya? That extended war crime for which people in other centuries have been set to hang? No, this is something brand new. First of all, he didn't do it, right? So what are they talking about? Then the other thing that he could do that's crazy, and this shows what their mindset is, he could draw down troops from Afghanistan. Oh my God. Isn't that the end of the world? Not to give Joe Biden and his crony saber-rattling ghouls a good head start, right? Don't move any of the pieces on the chessboard. We want to come in, and the worst thing you could do is be too peaceful. And it's an amazing thing that we're watching happening. This is a restoration. It is not a revolution at all. And you know what? You have to be honest. Trump is hardly an anti-imperialist. The assassination of Soleimani was one of the most egregious diplomatic and military crimes of the last 10 years. But he didn't initiate any new wars. When was the last president who did that? You have to give credit where credit isn't due, or, however you want to rephrase history. And if past is prologue, what we have, Susan Rice, we have all of these people who've been hanging around the various echelons of the State Department or the hack closet and waiting to come back into the roles that they held under prior administrations. This does not bode well for the fate of the world. In fact, I agree with another commentator who said that people may well be nostalgic for the Trump years. Where were we when we got so rudely interrupted by Orange Man? We were at China and Russia's throats. We had planes buzzing over the Black Sea right up to the border, or NATO planes getting into like scraps with Russian planes, the conflict over Syria, Libya, South China Sea, any one of which could result in a misunderstanding, enormous tinderbox potential. Very, very dangerous imperialist foreign policy. And that obviously is not going to change except for the worse, potentially. Sure, Trump's blundering in his what do you call it, swashbuckling, right? He's like, some pirate who's going to swing in on a chandelier. And he's everyone hated this. His approach was undiplomatic. It was just kind of boorish and weird, and this kind of arrogant America first thing. The Europeans hated him. Don't you wish they had had the same reaction to Hillary Clinton's war, to the war on Libya? I mean, that was the biggest foreign policy disaster. Barack Obama admitted it, of his presidency. It's a terrible thing, and it was one in a long string of terrible things. And you can't just turn around and say everything Trump did was bad, therefore everything this guy is going to do is going to be better. And that is exactly what they're trying to push. That's what they want the entire narrative to be set before the regime starts, so that they can hit the ground running. That's why they're so upset that this fool wants to wait until the recounts are done before giving up the codes and just getting the hell out of the way. It's sad that so many people are so easily duped, that they didn't understand that a candidate that was just picked out of thin air, didn't win anything, but was forced on them, and they bought the tirade and the narrative that he was the only thing standing between Trump and them. Certain death, fascism, the end of the world, the only thing wrong that ever happened in the U.S. The terrible, terrible racism and descent into madness that happened miraculously between 2016 and 2020, and now it's all better. It's a silly, dangerous narrative, completely ahistorical, made by or for idiots. I don't know if it's by idiots. I tend to think that the people who spin these stories know exactly what they're doing, and they take us for stupid. This is like we said, this is a 40-year-old story of the U.S. Attacking and threatening to attack Iran. Ever since the revolution, the U.S. has never changed its stripes, has never changed its attitude or its position vis-a-vis Iran. And as far as the nuclear condition goes, and the talks and the sanctions, they are fully committed to this medieval siege warfare. It's a war. It is warfare by economic means, just as a medieval siege was, to surround the castle, poison the well, cut off supplies. It is a murderous, ugly policy. It is a war crime, and it is a slow form of genocide. And that was the policy under Obama, Biden, and it was the policy under Trump, and it will be the policy under Trump, Harris. There's nothing new under the sun. And the only thing that will help Iran has nothing to do with regime change in Washington. It has to do with the prospect of being under someone else's nuclear umbrella. If they don't have nukes on their own, they have to have the reassurance that Russia and China are going to have their back. And it will be a very, very dangerous thing for the U.S. to attack. That is the only thing, short of having their own nuclear weapons, that will protect Iran from the great Satan, from its arch enemy, its endless enemy, and its forever enemy, the United States. The empire is gnashing its teeth, and the emerging closeness between Iran and Russia and Iran and China is, I think, going to be the death knell of the U.S. empire eventually. but it's not. It has nothing to do with a transition from Trump to Biden. That's just complete nonsense.